Hey yo, salute to all my subscribers. Special shout out to everybody else passing through. It's a social forecast. Came through to chat with y'all real quick about a news article I came across. And before I get into this news story, this is the type of content really that this channel is built on. All the other shit, the fun shit, the hip hop shit, the entertainment shit, the battle rap shit, that's just stuff that I'm into. So I talk about it, and it's my platform, so I talk about what I want. But really, aside from all the jokes in the comments and people coming at me for the nose ring and all that funny shit, I respect it. You know what I'm saying? I'll go back and forth with just about anybody as long as it's intelligent and good fun and all of that. But I got to keep my focus, my overall focus on what the whole reason for me starting this channel was for. Because if I don't do that, and as this channel continues to grow, and as I get my subscriber base up and my views and all of those things, if I allow myself to forget what this channel is really about, then, I run the risk at that point of being accused of being, I guess, the same type of sellout as some of the people that we go back and forth about on this channel as far as entertainers go. And even just for me, I'm not a sellout type of individual, you know what I'm saying? So I got to keep with the, I got to keep with the core values of what I started this channel for and what I'm about. So, having said all that, came across a news article just this morning. This is a police chief out of San Francisco. If I'm remembering correctly, his name is William Scott. He's a police chief out in San Francisco. Issued a department-wide memo basically instructing his officers that it's no longer going to be acceptable under his supervision that police officers who are detaining subjects, investigating subjects for having, I guess, committed potential crimes that are worthy of arrest, it's no longer acceptable under his watch for them to sit subjects on the ground, whether they be cuffed or not. And y'all know, if y'all pass through any inner city, any area where there's, higher than usual crime rate, and crime could be, it's not just the more serious things, but, and I grew up in these types of areas too, where you'll see people on the sidewalk, lined up by police or sitting down on the curb with their hands behind their back and that type of shit. And this dude, William Scott, his position is that type of imagery, that type of visual, those optics, that they're demeaning. They're demeaning to the people who are being detained. It doesn't. The optics aren't right for the people, passers-by, people who might be walking by or driving by, and it's true. You know what I'm saying? You send the optics and a lot of the shit that we talk about in our culture, inner city culture, black culture, poverty-stricken areas, high crime areas. You see these things more than anywhere else. And it just sets a bad precedent. Like you drive by, if you're not a person like me who understands those types of environments and those types of situations, a middle American person or a suburban person, you drive by a situation like that, a scene like that, and automatically in your head that visual sends you the message that, oh, this person they must have done something crazy, or they must have done something wrong for them to be in that predicament. And I'm not necessarily bashing cops in this blog, because there are a lot of police officers who do it just as a way to keep the situation under control, as a safety thing for them. They feel like if a subject is sitting down while they're handcuffed, it's harder for them to, I guess, get up and try to run or try to evade the situation. But this reason why I have so much respect for this police chief is because his thing is, look, there are going to be extreme circumstances in which people do try to evade unlawful attempts to arrest them, and people who try to resist. There may be extreme cases where they may have to be put down on the ground, and officers are trained to do that. And I have no issue with those tactics when those tactics are necessary. For the safety of the officers, for the safety of the general public. There are situations, we all know, people have a tendency to act crazy when they're in situations where they know they're wrong. But this police chief is saying, listen, The average person doesn't need to be treated like this. We don't need to send these optics. We don't need to make people feel like, just because, even for the people who did commit a crime or do something wrong, we don't need to have them on the ground like they're animals. We don't have to treat them. Matter of fact, in 2018, about to be 2019, we can't even treat animals with as much disrespect as we have seen people treated. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna put a race thing on it, but y'all know what's really going on out here. And you get more flack these days for treating animals. If we treated animals the way that we have seen people being treated by the police, it would be a fucking public outcry. And we know this shit to be true. And so this police chief is saying, listen, even people who commit crimes, even people who are being investigated for possibly having committed a crime, people who are being detained while investigations happen, people who ultimately end up arrested, still need to be treated with respect. And that's 100% fact. And, I talk a lot about elections and being involved in, who our public figures are as far as politicians go. And I don't put a lot of onus on people as far as national elections go. I put more onus on people for the localities that they live in and really getting involved. Because if you think about it, we need more police chiefs like this individual. We need more judges and sheriffs and district attorneys like this individual. More, and there are certain positions that are election held. Those people are appointed to certain positions due to elections. Your mayors, your district attorneys, your sheriffs. These people are elected. Police chiefs are appointed by those same officials who we elect. Like a mayor would elect a commissioner or a police chief. Those positions aren't necessarily elected, more appointed by the people that we choose to elect in those different localities. And so, strike that. I don't think, and I could be wrong on this, I'm not sure. Maybe police commissioners are elected. That part I'm not 100% on. I don't pretend to know everything, y'all know that. But police chiefs are appointed, right? They rise up through the ranks and they're appointed, and then they go on from there. But the reason for me doing this video is because I feel like the change that we talk about, the situations in which we see get escalated and unarmed individuals get shot and killed by police, people suffering with mental health issues, where there should be more training, there should be more professionalism in approaching those situations to de-escalate those situations that we don't see happening enough. We do see it, because all cops aren't bad, and I never want to make it seem like that's my position, but we don't see it enough. And there should never be a case where anybody should be shot and killed or tased or unprofessionally handled or unlawfully handled by police when the situation could have been escalated, especially for petty shit. And so this police chief is an example, right? We need to not only publicize these stories when they come out, but we need to do our part to make sure that there are more individuals like this William Scott put into these positions of authority, where they are not abusing those positions. They're not abusing that power. They're trying to initiate real change that affects people in the community. And it doesn't, for the people who say shit like, if you do something wrong and the police give you an order, comply, and you're obligated to do this and do that. Aside from the fact that that's not always the case, aside from the fact that we are United States citizens and we are supposed to be protected by the Constitution, aside from the fact that police don't have the right to manhandle us and treat us like shit just because they're having a bad day, or just because we ran a stop sign or jaywalked or whatever the fucking charge might be, we still have a right to be treated with respect. And contrary to popular opinion from the wrong people who aren't from those types of environments and don't see what that police contact is like, and what that police contact conditions those people who do resist out of fear for their own life, out of feeling like their civil rights are being infringed on. Contrary to the opinions of those people, the police are supposed to set the tone. I say it all the time. The people who are in a position of authority are supposed to be the ones who set the tone. It's a police officer's job to be professional and to show that respect, not the citizens. You know what I'm saying? We feed off of the energy of what's being projected toward us from those people in authority. And so it's my theory And obviously this police chief, William Scott's theory that if we treat the people in our communities that we're supposed to be policing, if we treat them with respect, the majority of them are going to treat us with respect in return. We're not all animals. We're not all uneducated, unarticulate, ignorant animals. You know what I'm saying? We even in the street, there's a code, right? You respect people, you get respect. You know, even in a lot of the, you know, all county jails and state prisons is not just savages. They have a code too. You know what I'm saying? You don't fuck with the wrong people. You approach people the right way and in a respectful manner. And for the most part, unless there's, you know, a certain type of activity being engaged, you know, and people will treat you with respect in return in accordance with that situation. And this police chief issuing this department-wide memo is going to do one of two things. The people who get into law enforcement who truly want to make a change for the better, who want to treat people with respect, who want to be professional, who understand the gravity of their responsibilities, those people are going to take to that influence in a positive way, right? They're gonna feel reinforced, because what happens is, you know, a lot of times the good police officers feel like, yo, at a certain point, it's like us being good can't even change anything because there's so many corrupt police officers out here. So us doing the right thing, we just look like the black sheep. So when you have the police chiefs, the police commissioners, when you have those people, you know, the captains of the department, when you know, when you have those people setting that tone, it allows the good police officers who truly want to do their job the right way for the reasons they got into it. It gives them that empowerment to say, look, you know, we really are doing the right thing, and the people who we report to clearly see that, and so we respect that, and we'll continue to do that. And the other result that's going to happen is, hold on, the people who are the corrupt cops, the people who are racist, the people who are prejudiced and discriminatory and want to use their badge to bully people and want to use the fact that they have a license to carry that handgun and to use it, who are just itching to create situations that would quote unquote justify them using those firearms or those tasers in a way that is not conducive to the situation being de-escalated. Those people are going to show through even more, because they're not going to be inclined to follow these orders, to abide by these guidelines and these memos that this police chief is putting out, and they're going to continue to try and get away with these situations and try and justify them. And those people will be weeded out under this person's authority over that, you know, those departments. And so I say that to say, as much as we initiate these public outcries for when shit don't go right, we equally have to publicize the people who do the right thing in their positions and who hold their officers accountable when they don't. And when I came across this news story, I was like, yo, this is the type of shit that we need more of coming into 2019, because it's the only way that we're really going to see a real change that's going to last. Because look, you can't change the racist mind. You can create a system, and hopefully we get to a point where this happens. You can create a system where the racist mind, the prejudiced mind, the discriminatory mind, who doesn't uphold the law that they're sworn to uphold and enforce, but they don't uphold the laws themselves. You can create consequences for them. You can remove them from those positions which they shouldn't have been placed in the first place. But you can't change that person's views. You can't change their thoughts. But by doing what this police chief is doing, you can definitely take steps toward weeding those people out, so that what's left is the positive ones who want to interact with the community in a positive way, in a progressive way, so that we don't have to continue to fear the police and have disrespect toward the police. Because that's the only way to do it. You have to rid the system from the bottom up of the people who shouldn't be in those positions. And for as many people who are hopeless about that ever being a reality, it's probably because we don't big up, we don't publicize enough. I'm not saying that we don't do it enough for the people like this police chief William Scott, who said, yo, this shit's not gonna fly on my watch. It's not. And hopefully he's allowed to continue in that position, and hopefully he will be able to influence young officers coming up through the ranks who will be in that position one day and go farther in their career, as I'm sure he will eventually, into doing the right thing, because he set that example. And that's what we need to pay more attention to, and that's why these are the things that are the focal point of this channel. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have balance, so I'll continue to put all the different types of content on this channel that I do, but I want y'all to understand, like, when y'all come at me like, yo, you don't be knowing what you be talking about when you be talking about certain hip-hop shit and putting certain artists over other artists, and you go into your different rants about this or that. I understand y'all having differences of opinions with me, and that's cool. I got no issue, I got no beef with those things, because we're all entitled to our opinion. But y'all got to understand that what I'm really here for, what the real purpose of this channel, this platform is for, is this type of shit. And so when y'all come through for the other shit, also stay for this shit. And when you stay for this shit and you hear me speak on these things, understand that there's no disagreeing with this type of shit. My content, as it pertains to this type of shit, there's little to no room for disagreement, because this type of content is more of a call to action for us to continue to be woke, for us to continue to do what we need to do and handle our responsibilities as citizens, no matter what your station in life is, so that we can continue to uplift people like this individual, this police chief William Scott, who's clearly trying to do the right thing. And that's all I stopped through to say. Listen, y'all, I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. Like, comment, and subscribe. I fuck with y'all all. I appreciate y'all all who take the time out of your day to listen to my shit, to watch my videos, and fuck with my content, and subscribe to my channel, and interact with me and go back and forth in the comments, because that shit is dope, and I'm all about that shit, even when the trolls do it. And continue to do so. Continue to help me grow this community and this platform. Let me know what y'all think about this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love.